Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Today we have a huge revelation. I should say revelations. Two revelations. The first one is Trump has come out strongly in support of Hindus of Bangladesh. Now, something like that is not going to happen overnight. Somebody has done a lot of work, and that's what led to this conclusion. And to know all about it, I'm going to be inviting my good friend Utsav Chakraborty. And Utsav, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you?
Namaste, and I'm happy to be here today, Sri. Happy Deepavali to all our listeners.
Thank you and happy Deepavali to everyone. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to try and see if I can raise your volume. Okay.
Okay.
Say something? Yeah, it sounds better now. Sounds better now. So, Utsav, something like this, where a leading candidate for the presidency of United States he comes out with a statement which is fairly very up to the point, crisp, and basically tells everything that needs to be told about the plight of Hindus in Bangladesh. To get something like this, what is the effort that goes into it? Tell us a little bit about what you had been doing in the back rooms.
So that's a very good question, Sri, because what you saw today from President Trump was a concise complaint list of what the American Hindu community has been putting out for the last 6 months. And it was written, well researched, very concise, touched upon every little aspect of what the community has been thinking, put it in the perspective of geopolitical development, and ended with a proper, clear message about Deepavali that also connects to his campaign. So it was, a full 10 out of 10 for the entire team that worked on it. And over the past few months, I must say that a lot of effort was put in to reach out to the Republican thought leadership, whether it is grassroots workers, whether it is senators and their staff, whether it is members of Congress and their staff, whether it was Trump's inner circle, going back all the way to Vivek Ramaswamy and later on Tulsi Gabbard, and as well as people around Trump, including Rich Graham. So I have had the honor to know people, uh, not just within Hindu Action that I represent, but outside the organization, including many other Hindu community organizations who worked very closely with different people at different levels over the last 2-3 months. And it is heartbreaking that we had to keep collating information. Hindu Action has been putting out information almost every 10 days on the data that was coming out of Bangladesh. And numbers matter. Many times people do not value what actual data does. It matters, and eventually people started seeing at the thought leadership level in the Republican Party that this is something serious, and they noticed. On top of that, the concerns that the American Hindu community were facing in America, including the attacks on the Hindu temples, the House Resolution 1131 that has 10 Republican co-sponsors, Democrat co-sponsors, all of these added up. And most importantly, the fact that 2 days ago during the Deepavali celebrations at the White House, the Biden-Harris team completely missed out the messaging about the concerns of the Hindu community. That was a big mistake, I believe, on their part, because they were as much aware of all these things as the Trump side was. And the fact that Trump has a good, thoughtful head on his shoulders to zoom in onto these concerns and then put out such a beautiful message on Deepavali, it comes together very well. And kudos to all the people, including my Hindu Action team, for working so hard on this.
Thank you so much, Utsav. Now, I know you are at outside, so I'm going to let go of you after one question. One question is, see, the hope seems to be to to try and use this regime change as a pretext to try and take it out on the Hindus of Bangladesh. We have seen something like this happen in Pakistan, continues to happen in Pakistan. There also, I hope this message reverberates that there will be accounting taken place, and it's going to happen sooner than rather than later. So as far as our Bangladeshi Hindu brethren are concerned, brothers and sisters of Bangladesh, the number that is left still, 7 to 8% of the population, 12 million, rough calculation, 12 million is not a number that can be displaced. See, if you take for example, the Jews of Africa, of Middle East, who all migrated to Israel, they are all in the 100,000s, 200,000s level, not in 12 million. 12 million is a huge number. It's like creating, Kolkata and a half or something like that. Huge number. So for the future, there has to be a time when these Hindus have to find an enclave, a safe place of their own inside Bangladesh. This is something that I have been thinking about. I've been talking about it also. Some experts come and say that yes, India will carve out the area where there are significant Hindu populations. For example, Chattogram, Chittagong area, as well as Rajshahi area. But how do you see this thing realizing? Is it something that could bear fruit in 4 years, 10 years? What are your thoughts?
So, firstly, I would say that it's not just a geopolitical decision; it's the moral decision to ensure that the 12 million to 14 million Hindus that are in Bangladesh, that are native to that land. This is the most important part of the conversation that the world should recognize. They are the native of the land for thousands and thousands of years. They are the original inhabitants of that land. They need a secure, safe country or an enclave inside the country, an enclave country to live with. And the world should make the right moral choices in this aspect. So no matter what India's position is, it is the world's position, including America's position, that they take the right moral decision and provide these people that safe zones within Bangladesh. And more importantly, there is precedence globally. Within America, more than a century ago, we worked towards addressing the atrocities against the Native Americans and eventually created safe zones called reservations, which I don't like as a word, but certainly safe zones within America where the Native Americans have safety and security and privileges. Similarly, just a couple of years ago in Kosovo, in Eastern Europe, in the Balkans, similar American globally sanctioned safe zones were created. So it's not like there is no global precedence. There is global precedence emerging from the rules based world order that should allow for the security and safety of Hindus in Bangladesh. And I believe that, no, again, I do not want to bring India into this in any role, but I want to bring the entire global community and the democracies around the world to think about this and make the right moral decision. Hindus of Bangladesh, all 13, 14 million of them, need to be safe in that country, and they have to take proper measures globally to ensure that. That's my message to them.
Thank you so much, Utsav. And viewers, we'll be following this in the next few weeks and months to come. Thank you so much, Utsav, for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you are out, and you've been kind enough to give your time to talk to us about this. Thank you so much. And we'll be seeing you again very soon. And viewers, I have one more story to cover now on Kamala Harris. Thank you once again, Utsav. See you.
Thank you. And it was my honor and privilege. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have another story that is breaking. This is something that came a few years ago, but that was completely swept under the carpet. Many of us in California used to wonder, how is it that Kamala Harris faced almost no opposition when she ran for the Senate? Certainly, the Republican candidate was not there. In a first of first, California witnessed a senatorial election where there was no Republican candidate. But in California, the top two primary finishers will face off each other. So Kamala Harris faced off against another Democratic challenger to become the senator. And then very meteoric rise, and the rest, as they say, is history. She became the vice president. Now she is running for the president. But there are some very interesting developments. How did this rise happen? Was there a golden hand that was kind of guiding her through this process? Was there somebody who was making sure that all stops will be pulled? So she's the only contestant in the race. All this and more I'm going to share with you using a slide deck. Small request to all of you to like this video. If you have not already subscribed to our channel, kindly subscribe to our channel. Here we go. So what happened? There is Joe Brown, who is a TV personality, and he came on a show And I'm going to give you all the links. There are lots of links that give you all the backdrop, because this goes back about 10-15 years of Harris's political rise to Soros and one bank called One West Bank. What is this One West Bank? What is its relationship with Soros? You will find out in just one moment. So Judge Joe Brown revealed that Kamala Harris is backed by Soros and dropped as an attorney general 5,200 fraud charges against his bank. On Candace Owens' show, Candace Owens, by the way, she outed the supported claimed history of Kamala Harris's father, that he was this, he was that in Jamaica. All that turned out to be false. Everything made up, lies after lies. Candace Owens systematically broke through that complete narrative, because the idea was that she is not as black as she claims to be. She doesn't really go and meet the people that trace from her father's side. All that stuff was completely smashed up by Candace Owens. And there was an interview that she did of Joe Brown, from which we have extracted this stuff. We're going to give you the original link also, so you can see for yourself what are all the things that were claimed. So Brown connected a lot of dots between Kamala Harris and George Soros and this One West Bank. So what is One West Bank? How come this attorney general, by the way, I've heard something interesting. Somebody who used to work in Kamala Harris's office said that in their internal meeting, she likes to be referred to herself as General Harris. Get it? Not Vice President, I heard. Anyway, I don't know if this is true or not. Somebody who was disgruntled, who had come out of that group, said that she likes to be addressed by that. And very testy meetings I heard. Anyway, as someone who cannot even manage a small group, one wonders how she manages, how she will manage the country. These are all questions asked by people who've come out of her inner circle, if you will. So what is this? What is the role of Soros in political ascent of Harris? Well, Brown notes that Harris ran unopposed, like I told you, right, by any Republican for the US Senate in California. There are 2 seats per state, and one of the seats fell vacant when Barbara Boxer stepped down and Kamala Harris filled her place. Now, the interesting thing is, this is the first time in the state's history that a Republican candidate did not even show up to fight for the Senate seat. Of course, one can make the argument that California is 70% blue, therefore, the Republicans stand no chance. Interestingly, how California became so blue is thanks to something that a Republican president did, Ronald Reagan. That's a story for a different day. I'll come to that in a different day. In the 2016 US Senate election in California, Kamala Harris faced fellow Democrat Loretta Sanchez in the general election. Like I told you, right? The top 2 primary finishers. And the results were that Kamala Harris got 61.6% of the vote and Loretta Sanchez got 38.4%. Now, what happened is, what did Kamala do as a favor to Soros? Now, Soros is a major investor in a bank called One West, and he had raised substantial funds from there to support Kamala's run for California Attorney General. At that time, when this was happening, One West faced over 5,200 indictment counts related to mortgage fraud, affecting numerous Californians, including Brown's neighbors. Under the leadership of the then Steve Mnuchin, CEO. Now, Steve Mnuchin was in Obama government, if I remember correctly. Also, I think he was the Treasury Secretary, if I'm not wrong. Somebody can correct me. You can check what was Steve Mnuchin's role in the Obama administration. One West Bank faced significant scrutiny for its foreclosure practices during the late 2000s and early 2010s. The bank was accused of engaging in widespread misconduct by allegedly violating California foreclosure laws, including practices like dual tracking, where the homeowners were foreclosed upon while simultaneously seeking loan modification. See, sometimes what happens is, if times are tough, especially 2010, 2009, that was when the Great Recession started, 2008 onwards, and people are finding it difficult to make payments. So then what happens is you go back to the bank that gave you the loan and you try to seek loan modifications, where you might opt for, let's say if you have a 15-year loan, you might opt for a 30-year loan, or if you have a 30-year fixed loan, you might opt for a 30-year variable rate loan, something to ease the burden of payments on you for today, for something that you can still hang on to as a property. So what happened is that despite all these allegations, General and Kamala Harris did not prosecute 𝗏𝗏. According to Brown, Kamala used her position to consolidate and dismiss these indictments after her election. Just weeks later, this is as an attorney general, Soros sold 𝗏𝗏 for approximately $3.4 billion. I would like to know which poor bastard bought that one. So sorry to say that. Judge Brown suggests that these political maneuvers, Soros's backing, the dismissal of charges, and the unopposed Senate run reflect a pattern that bolstered Kamala Harris's career with little resistance from the Republicans. This is where the point is. How is it that the Republicans didn't even squeal when she was having this meteoric rise? I mean, that begs the question, right? I mean, she wasn't like, an extraordinary person. In fact, there are so many instances of she using bad judgment as an attorney general. You remember, viewers, if the attorney general or the AG's office, the attorney general's office, decides to not prosecute, then it doesn't get prosecuted in the court. It doesn't matter. See, remember, there is law and there is order. The law is usually decided by the attorney general before they take it up in front of a judge for a case, right? If somebody has done something, manslaughter, for example, the case, unless it is rock solid, the DA's office will not take it. But there is a lot of room there for the DA to maneuver. They can always say, I can't win this case, and cite some reason or the other. Is that what happened in this case? You should go back and watch Candace Owens' video of Joe Brown that I'm going to give you as a link so that you understand yourself. I understand that many of you are committed Democratic voters, but you need to know the truth. I don't know how many of you know the truth about what Kamala Harris did as an attorney general and then as a senator and as a vice president. Of course, she was a huge failure, as borders are, never went to the border, and it just less said the better about it. So 10 million illegals now roaming about in the United States. God knows what kind of problems and hassles they are going to create for the poor, suffering Americans. So we have all these problems now, and to go back and vote for the same thing, do you want another 10 million? By that time, it will be like 10% of the population in US will be illegal immigrants. Already there are talks that there are 10 million already illegal. So 10 million illegals, you've added another 10, so 20 million. If you bring in another 10 million, that would be 30 million. That would be 10% of the population. 1 in 10 in the United States will be illegal. And there are lots of videos today that are showing how one group called 𝗖𝗏𝗍 was facilitating illegals to get voting ID. It's just, I mean, flabbergasting. The way I see it, there are lots of tricks that are being used to somehow, steer this election in one direction. I don't want to say anything more than that. I am hoping and praying that Trump prevails and that the Republicans get a majority in both Congress as well as in Senate. Unless all these things happen, real change cannot happen. Let's hope that that's what is going to happen. I'm done with my monologue and I should say online hangout. Let's see if there are any questions from our viewers. Let's see, 1 second. I see a lot of new viewers, and I'm curious, how did you all get triggered on this one? Are you all subscribers? Anyway, so there's a lot of stuff about a lot of praise, I would say, left-handed. Here, there's one question here. Utsav's gone, but I can try and answer this. 𝗣𝗚𝗏𝗍𝙬 wants to know, do you think 𝙒𝙗𝘃 𝗍𝙬 will become Secretary of State if Trump wins? These appointments are tricky. Whether Tulsi is the right fit, I don't know. And I don't know what Trump has in mind. And there will be a transition team, should he win on the 5th of November, that will take care of the matters of the country for the next 3 months. And then Trump will be picking his actual candidates. So you might get some sense of where things are headed during the time the transition time team settles in. So stay tuned to PGurus, follow us, we'll keep you abreast of all that stuff. But if you ask me, probably not. Tulsi Gabbard might get some other position, might not be that one. So let's see how it goes. I thought that's all for today. Thank you very much, viewers. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. And I hope you got your marigold brooch. $10 for a pack of 5. There are still a few samples available, and I would love for you to get this thing and wear it and explain to your children the role of Indian soldiers in both World Wars I and II. Thanks once again. Namaskar.